Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest version of Tales from Outer Space, where I take an HFY story from somewhere around the internet and read it aloud for your enjoyment. All the relevant links are down below. Like, subscribe, and all that YouTube gumph to help this video and channel grow. Anyways, as always, I hope that you enjoy. I would just like to thank the following Tier 5 patrons and channel members for supporting the channel: FallenAngel, BuzzKillington, Datamagnet, and Bob the Dragon. Thank you again. And now, on to the story. Story number 1. This is What We Do, written by DeathClock36. We were prospecting around the Klaxar 6 asteroid belt when the pirates attacked. A squadron of patchwork destroyers ambushed us, appearing from their hiding spot behind the asteroids. They immediately set their vectors and bore down on us, firing as they went. Our defense batteries did their best, but they were soon targeted and destroyed by the pirates' return fire. Defenseless, we prayed to our gods for deliverance as the pirates picked us apart, piece by piece. Our engines took a volley of missiles, crippling them in a cloud of vented fuel and a rapidly blossoming fire within the ship. Our thrusters followed the engines in short order, leaving us a drifting hulk. The hangars went next, shuttles going up in blazing fireballs as rail fire tore through their bays, tearing crew and machinery apart like so much paper. All across the ship, warning klaxons sounded. I overcame my initial shock and got back to being the captain. I pushed the body of my comms officer aside and picked up the comm. "Damage report, all stations!" I screamed over the comm. I had tried and failed to keep the edge of fear out of my voice. "Engines offline, sir. We tried to seal the blast doors, but they won't close, sir. The fire is spreading. We need to stop it before—" I felt a dull crump through the deck plates under my feet as the flames found portside fuel relay. I knew that every crew member anywhere near number 4 engine was dead instantly. I hung my head and silently mourned their loss for a moment as engineering began their report. "Preventing atmosphere on decks 11 through 21. The hydraulic systems took a hit when the shuttle bay went up. The blast doors won't seal without hydraulics. We're working to reroute hydraulic power, but it's going to take some time," said the chief engineer rapidly. "Keep working on it, Chief," I ordered. "Medical report." I was met by a static on the comm. "Medical! Medical! Come in, doctor!" There was a crackle on the line, more static, and then, to my relief, the ship's doctor's voice came over the comm. "We're still here, sir," he grunted, sounding pained. "Our comms seem to be damaged. We're trapped down here. We need engineering immediately. We need to evacuate the injured to the shuttles." "Doctor, the shuttles are gone. Engineering is focusing on containing the damage. Nobody's coming," I said through gritted teeth. "In that case, it's been a pleasure serving with you, sir. I'll keep whoever I can alive for as long as I can," he said quietly, and then cut the line. I sat down and watched as my ship and crew was torn apart. I watched, helpless, as the pirate closed in for the kill. Then another ship appeared. It dropped out of warp between us and the pirates as if it were shielding us from them. I dared, for a moment, to hope. "Captain of the Rykoth, this is Captain DeLange of the UTN Warspite. We are here to help. Stand by to be boarded by rescue teams," said a calm voice over the comm. "Captain, what about the pirates?" I asked, with a definite edge of panic to my voice. Perhaps this Captain DeLange had not noticed the small fleet of pirates about that were now adjusting their targeting to claim a second prize. "What pirates?" he replied. I couldn't be sure, but I thought I could hear a smile in the man's voice. All along the Warspite's broadside, a veritable forest of railguns and missile tubes roared into life. The pirates went from vicious predators to clouds of debris in seconds. The sheer volume of fire that spewed from the Terran ship was staggering. I watched as pirates blinked out of existence, one by one. The few shots that the pirates got off in return either missed or pattered harmlessly off the armored hull of the Warspite. It was only when the gun stopped firing that I realized I'd been holding my breath. The chief engineer's voice brought me back to reality. "Hydraulics are back online, sir. I don't know who these Terrans are, but they clutched something horrific together, and the cracked damn thing just sprung back to life. You need to get down here," he said in a slightly awed tone. I didn't need to be told twice. I sprinted from the bridge, making for the chief's deck. As I tore through the corridors of my ship, I saw Terrans everywhere. There were Terran medics tending to the wounded crewmen, using the roughness of battlefield medicine. A medic smiled at me, and he shoved a breathing tube into my crew through a hole that he'd cut. Terrans in heavy clothing used back-mounted fire extinguishers and howled the raging inferno that was spitting out from the mess hall, while more of their number dragged unconscious crewmen from the room. Another Terran pushed one of their medics away from him and made to return to rescue the crew. The man's face and one of his arms were terribly burned, but he still refused medical help until my crew was safe. The medic dragged him down and injected him with something, causing him to fall asleep in a few seconds. The medic waved over some other Terrans, who loaded their wounded comrade onto a stretcher and hustled the wounded man away from the fire. I passed through a group of engineers who were patching a hole in the deck plates by welding a door into place over the chasm. I overheard some chatter over the personal comm system as I ran past. "Get that escape route cleared ASAP, and then get down to the lower decks. Spacesuits and oxygen. We need to get those hull breaches sealed before it gets real hard to breathe in here," said a crackly voice over the comm. By the time I reached the chief, a few minutes later, I found myself speechless. The Terrans were everywhere. They displayed such disregard for their own safety that I thought that they must surely be robotic in nature. They were awe-inspiring in combat, selfless in rescue, and downright insane when it came to engineering. I had a million questions. When I found the chief, he was speaking with a tall Terran in dark green military attire. "You must be Captain Kogorak, Captain DeLanger. I'm glad we stumbled across you when we did," he said, extending a hand in greeting. Behind the Terran's back, the chief motioned for me to take a proffered hand in one of my own. I shot him a confused look, but complied. Captain DeLanger seemed pleased. He clasped my hand firmly and shook it once. Before I let go of his hand, I looked over at our savior and asked the only question that came to mind. "Why?" I croaked. He smiled and replied, "We're humans, Captain. This is what we do." End of story. Story number 2. One Punch, written by Chain Blue. The Dreadnought's long, armored hull was green, so dark that it was nearly black. Blue flashes mirrored against the hull as it escort ships of its full battle group popped from slipspace, all in precise formation in high orbit around an unsuspecting planet designated Sol 3. Enemy sensor satellites lit up floating holoscreens all over the bridge. The XO calmly reported, "An active sensor ping, sir. No weapons locked on, though. One small vessel rising from the surface." The Admiral grinned with 3 rows of needle teeth. They had been scanned, and now the pitiful local species saw the folly of their resistance. A single ship meant that it was a diplomatic vessel coming to offer terms of surrender. He would take this ball of mud without firing a shot. "On the main viewer," he commanded. The ship indeed tiny compared to his flagship. It wasn't much bigger than one of the escort destroyers. It was an odd little vessel. The hull was mostly yellow, but trimmed with its bits of red, white, and black. Its shape vaguely reminded him of a smooth, domed torpedo. "Hail the," he started to say, but was cut off by the XO. "Unknown vessel is opening our weapons port." reported the Exo with a sneer. "But a ship that size won't scratch our armor." With no build-up, no gathering of power, absolutely nothing to telegraph the shot, a blinding silver beam lanced out from the tiny ship and slammed into the hull of the dreadnought. A perfectly circular tunnel, large enough to pilot a medium cruiser through, appeared where megatons of armor, bulkheads, and internal systems once resided. The mighty flagship hung there in space for a long moment, exploding into hundreds of thousands of comets of shrapnel that tore into surrounding escorts. The few remaining operable ships received a transmission on all channels. "This is the JDF Saitama. We are here to accept your unconditional surrender." End of story. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and if you do, please consider supporting the author, even by popping over and leaving a thumbs up or a nice comment, just to show your appreciation for the story. However, if you wish to support this channel, there are links down below which will help immensely. I will see you all in the next one, and until then, I hope that you have a fantastic day. Cheers.